How do? Another week, another figure. I was aware that last week when we were talking about Smokescreen, we were a little bit long-winded. It was nearly an hour. Or thereabouts. They were about 10 minutes short of an hour. And it wasn't my intention doing these to make them so long. I wanted to keep them a bit short and sweet. At most half an hour. So I'm going to try and bear that in mind when I do this week's, which is Tracks. It's number 4 from the Transformers collection. I decided to do Tracks this week because, unlike the previous 4 that I've done so far, so Grapple, Starscream, Red Alert and Smokescreen, Tracks is one that I actually did have back in the day. And I thought maybe it's time that I did take a look back as part of the back catalogue at a figure that I actually did have. So that's what I'm doing. And being acutely aware of not wanting it to go on far too long, at this point I'm going to say, let's cue the intro and get on with it. Here we have Tracks in his box. We have, if I can get it, the Ruler, as ever. And at this point you might be thinking, there's something missing. There is something missing. It's Jeff. After the last couple of videos that I did, there was a bit of, let's say, difference of opinion between myself and Jeff. He wasn't particularly happy with the way things were going. I think it was the back catalogue we did on Red Alert that did it. The crashes that happened. I think it kind of... He was wanting more pay, basically. That's what it was. So we're negotiating and we're talking about it at the moment. That being the case, we have a stand-in for Jeff. And we are fortunate enough to be able to get hold of Jeff's second cousin twice removed, whose name is Gary. Woo-hoo! So Gary will now be taking over duties that Jeff would have been performing for the purpose of looking at the Transformers collection number 4, Tracks. Right, let's move those two out of the way. And we'll get straight into the box. So as I've said, this is Tracks number 4, part of the Transformers collection, released in September of 2002. This was part of the second batch that was released. It was released alongside number 3, which was Skids. I suppose I ought to get around to talking about Skids at some point, but it ain't going to be yet. Yeah, we're going to leave that for a good long while, I think. Box is exactly the same as what it was for Smokescreen that we looked at last week, so I won't spend as long on it. We've got the nice artwork here on the front, text and artwork again on the spine. To the back we have, start at the top, so we've got the contents of the box, we've got the paraphernalia, pamphletage and pages, highlighted there. Excuse me. And then we also have, up until this point here, ones that have been released so far at that point. So Jazz, Prowl, Skids, and then the 2 yet to come at that point as of September 2002 was Smokescreen and Megatron. Top of the box, just lettering. Bottom of the box, same again, lettering. Reverse spine, lettering, artwork. And then we shall open the flap, which is held in place by Velcro. We have contents page. This is just basically telling us what's going to be coming in this pages bit here. Nice bit of artwork there, which is different to what's on the cover. No, I don't think that is a piece of Dreamwave art. I think that is a unique piece of art, which could be, or may have been drawn by the gentleman that I mentioned last week while looking at Smokescreen, whose name I forget. So the first page that we have here, we have the artwork which we would have found on the back of the Hasbro UK, US, Europe from 1985. And we've got the Insecticons, the Dinobots, Jetfire, and Shockwave there. Nice. I do like it. It's a nice piece of artwork. I don't personally think it's as good as the artwork from 1984, but that's just me. I think it's just because I've got more of a connection to that artwork. That was the one. That was the the first time seeing it. It was like, wow, love that. Just really kind of got the imaginative juices flowing. Over on the next page, we have some blurb here, which I'm assuming is talking about tracks, as it does mention number 4 here. So that's what I'm assuming that is. And then here we have a character bio for Tracks. It shows him in his robot mode and in his car mode, and then we've got 2 screen captures from a particular episode. Which episode it is, I don't know. Like I mentioned last week, I have not seen too many episodes from the 2nd season. I ought to remedy that, but I'll get round to it eventually. On the next page, we then have the technical specs, the tech specs for Tracks. We have him in his car mode, his robot mode. We have a close-up picture of the accessories, a close-up of his face detail, and then we have a picture here of him in his Japanese packaging with that lovely styrofoam. We then have a cartoon bio about Reflector, and again screenshots of the 3 characters that make up Reflector. That is from More Than Meets the Eye Part 1, I believe. When they go off, is it Part 1 or is it Part 2? I think it's Part 1. I think it's just before they go off to Sherma Dam, isn't it? Oh yeah, when it's Thundercracker, the Reflector, and Soundwave that go off to scout for resources. I think it's the first episode. I think it's Part 1. Anyway, and then we've got same again, tech specs for the toys, the characters. We've got them in the robot mode. We've got them combined in the camera mode. Accessories, close-ups of the faces, and then in the Japanese packaging, which is different to what we got over here. Well, we didn't get him in the UK, but over in the States he was a mail away offer, and it just came in a white box, plain white box with Transformers camera written on the box. This is much better, and people have since done reproduction boxes that you can put your mail away Reflector into to make it look and fit more in with your collection. I had one at one point, but I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it's gone. Maybe it's packed away somewhere. Who knows? And then we have a rundown of Season 2 episodes. So we've got Desertion of the Dinobots 2, Decepticon Raider in Kanatha's Court, Golden Lagoon, Golden Lagoon, The God Gambit, and then on the next page we have Make Tracks. So that will be the episode that the screen captures are from the first page. I know that because we can see Raoul. We've got then Quest for Survival, Secret of Omega Supreme, The Gambler, and The Girl Who Loved Powerglide. The Gambler. That will be the episode that was the screen captures from last week when I was looking at Smokescreen where it had DevCon in. I bet that's what that one is. So yeah, I'm sure they're all great episodes, but I don't think I've seen it.
I think I may have seen the Gambler. I think I mentioned last week I may have seen it, but I can't. I remember very little of it. But yeah, anyway. Okay. And then fold out mini poster here. We've got, this is the Dreamwave artwork. This is from issue 1, I believe, which was the wraparound cover. And this is the Decepticon team. So we have Megatron, Devastator, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Starscream, the Insecticons. We have Blitzwing, Soundwave, Ravage, Rumble, Frenzy, and Laserbeak. Oh, and we've got Astro Train tucked away at the back of there. And did I mention Megatron? Yeah, I've got Megatron there. I love this artwork. This looks great. And I still think that the Dreamwave is second only to Marvel UK. It's a real shame that Dreamwave went bump, because I think we got robbed of some great artwork and also some great stories. So yeah, that's just me. I still think it looks far better than even what Skybound's putting out now, or Image, or Skybound, Image, whichever way you want it. And then we have toy catalogue images, if you will, of the Constructicons, all the separate robots that make up Devastator, and then Devastator on his own there. And then on the final page we have the Insecticons, Blitzwing, and Astro Train. Astro Train in his Japanese release colours of black and white, not the purple and black that we saw here in the UK and in the US. And that's it. That's it for the page work. And then finally we have got Tracks, which is viewable through this lovely window display here in his vehicle mode and his various accessories. So we'll close that up. We shall now bring in the ruler, and we shall get this box open and check out the contents. That way to one side. Don't need that now until the end. So we'll look at the paperwork first. Let's take out of this plastic bag. Stick back down there. Put that to the side for a moment. Okay, so first up we have the collector card, showing his original Japanese number designation of 44. We have him there in his robot mode. I still love this artwork for Tracks. I think it looks fantastic. And to be fair, in 1985, when I did get Tracks originally, this was what sold it to me. Other than also the fact that it is a really tasty looking Corvette. But that is what sold it to me. It was this robot mode artwork here. And imagine my disappointment when I got him and I got him out of the box and found that he didn't have this black face with the golden eyes. I think this looks far better, and it's a shame that the cartoon didn't go with that. Didn't go that route with the toy. I have often toyed with the idea, if you excuse the pun, of painting, but I just don't. If I did, I think I'd want to just pick up maybe either a Junker or maybe one of the, because the Tracks was one of the ones that was released by Hasbro in their G1 collection, I think it was called. So I wouldn't be bothered about painting up one of the Hasbro reissues. I wouldn't want to do it on this one. And then on the back we've got vehicle mode, robot mode, bit of a bio, and then his tech spec. Used sticker sheet. Again, paper, not foil. Disappointing, but what we're going to do. We have the instruction booklet. It's not a booklet, it's a leaflet. A fold-out piece of parchment. Lots of text. Transformation sequence, which is very, very straightforward. Rub signage. Contents. And then where to shove and stick your stickers. And then last but not least, we have, which what we now know is a questionnaire. So we would affix a stamp here, we would put our address there, and then it would be a case of answering these questions to provide feedback to Takara on their Transformers brand of merchandise or releases. And that's what that is. Oh, yeah. I'm happy now that I know what that is. And I hope you are too. Let's get rid of the paperwork. Right. Let's get tracks out. So we'll separate these two to start off with. Same as last week as for Smokescreen, we've got this tray, this cardboard in a sleeve tray that can fold out the other way and become a plinth, and you can display tracks on it. So you have your 4 incendiary missiles, black beam gun, missile launchers, missile launcher, and missile launcher mount. Get rid of that. 2-part clamp. Get into it. Come on, open up. Let's get tracks out, shall we? And the accessories. We don't need that. Let's get rid of that. Accessories first. So we have the black beam gun, which just slides over his fist. We'll talk more about that when we go into robot mode. We have the missile launcher mount, which again we'll talk more about later when we go into robot mode, but that clips onto his back section. 2 missile launchers, and then we've got 2 missiles left on the sprue and 2 detached, so we can put them in the launchers. Accessories, which now means we bring in Trax himself. Look at that. That is a little bit tasty, if I don't mind saying. I mean, everybody's got their own preference. And I think the 84-85 line does have some really, really nice vehicle modes for the Transformers. And I'm just looking over now at my 84 selection of Autobot cars. And whilst they're all great and Jazz is still a favourite, I think I have to say that Trax, I think, is probably the best looking of the Autobot cars in car mode. Those lines, just those sleek, sexy import with turbo handling. It just looks sublime. Now, what I will say at this point is that this reissue has no significant differences from the original release in 1985. I will also point out that this mould would see 2 further releases, 2 further reissues. It was done in red for Road Rage, and then they released a black version for, well, just for it being a black version. The black version, however, was inspired by a very limited release from way back in the Diaclone days. And it was released via the Art Koiski store chain, which operated in Finland. To my knowledge and a little bit of research that I've done, there are very few examples that have been found. However, many years later, and more recently for the Masterpiece line, they would bring back black tracks in the creator of the character of Loud Pedal. You will know, without me having to point it out, that Trax is indeed, his vehicle mode is indeed based upon a Chevrolet Corvette C3, and that particular model was produced between 1967 and 1982. However, this Trax's alt mode is more specific to the model year 1980 to 1982. Now, it is sometimes, often, and incorrectly called a Corvette Stingray. The earlier models were called a Stingray from 67 through to 76, but after 76, the Stingray sub-title or sub-moniker, whatever you want to call it, was dropped. However, it would come back in 2014, sorry, but we're not talking about the cars there. It was like many of the 85 and 84 model Transformers, it was a carryover from the original Diaclone line, and it was during the Diaclone years. It was released in both the black and the red. When it came to Transformers via Hasbro, the decision was made to change it to blue, and that's what hit the shelves in 1985. However, that said, in Europe during 1985, if you were looking, you would have gone to your local toy shop and you would have seen in an MB packaging with the nice polystyrene inserts, you would see a red Trax in the Transformers packaging. This was leftover Diaclone stock that was thrown in the packaging and released. Now, they are highly sought after nowadays, and they are considered to be quite rare, but not the rarest of Transformers. They are still out there. You can still get hold of them, but it's quite rare that they crop up. So, right, I think that's enough info. That's enough of the info dump for Trax. So we'll have a look around the car mode. First thing that strikes you is this gorgeous flame sticker with the Autobot logo front and centre in it on the bonnet. Very, very reminiscent from the next year of 1986, where we saw a similar thing on Hot Rod. We have the rub sign on the roof flap, which we'll get into in a moment. And then we have smaller Autobot insignia on the rear window there. No other stickerage on the external bodywork of the vehicle mode from these angles. We then flip it over, and again we have lots of plastic. There is very, very little painted detail on Trax. We have the blacked out window here that's painted black, and then we have the face is painted red, and that's it. That's the only paint we've got on this. The rest of it is actually just the plastic, and it doesn't suffer for it. It looks gorgeous. Anyway, back on topic. Underneath, very tidy and clean underneath. Not much on show. We have a couple of stickers here. These are part of the knees, and then we have the sticker there going across above there that is part of the waist. Chromed plastic wheels with like a spoke effect. Rubber tyres, which allow it to a freewheel. Yeah, we like that. That's a nice bit of freewheeling going on there. Okay, this is where I caught controversy, because I'm of the opinion that Trax kind of falls into that bracket of being potentially one of the first, or one of the triple changes. I've had discussions with other fellow Transformer collectors who some kind of agree, some don't agree, some do agree. The reason why I think it's a triple changer is because I'm going to show you now. He has a flight mode, so if I pull the arms and wings down like so, bring those up like that, then bring the arms forward like that, and then if I get the missile mount and pop that on the back there, get the missile launchers there and there, like so. Just straighten that up a little bit, and I'll put the missiles in. There we go. We have Trax's flight mode, which I personally think that it warrants a third mode independent and of itself. I'll just put those missiles back in. That wasn't very smooth or slick of me, was it? That'd be right. It's because I was trying to grab this bit underneath here. But yeah, I think it warrants a third mode. because it is distinct enough from the car mode. So that's my logic thought on its triple change of status. What I used to do back in the day, though, was I would bring the feet just slightly out like that, just to break the lines up a little bit, just to give it a little bit of extra thing, for the flight mode. And I used to take the beam gun here and I would attach it underneath there, so then it would be like a big blaster gun underneath. So when it was flying, it could like shoot people and be like oh. And so on. So that's the that's the third mode, as it were, for me. Right, let's get him back into his car mode, and then what we'll do is then, once he's back in his car mode, we will then transform him into his robot mode. So we'll pop that there. Oh, everything all back into place. Yes, there we go. Right, back into car mode, and we shall now talk about robot mode. So let's transform him out, shall we?
I'd rather stay in my stunning auto mode.
Actually, before we transform him into robot mode, we need to bring in Gary. Because we're going to pop Gary inside the vehicle mode. It's easier to get the little Dinonaut into tracks than it is some of the other Autobot cars, because you don't have to. I'm just looking across at my shelf. Yeah, the majority of them you need to just kind of lift, like partially transform, or untransform, if you will, to get the Dinonaut driver in. But yeah, Wheeljack is pretty straightforward. You can just lift up the canopy. Trailbreaker, lift up the canopy. Mirage, you just sit him in there. This is an F1 car. And Hound, yeah, you just sit him in there. But anyway, so with tracks, we lift this panel up here on the roof, like so. And then all we do then is we just pop a Gary in there, if we can see. He's now sat in there. Pop the flap back down, and he's in. And if that's getting in focus and you can see it properly, then great. But if not, no worries, because as per the new arrangements, there will be lots of nice photos that you can take a look at over on the Vaults of Icon website. So there we go. We now have Gary in the car. And yeah, I'm not going to... Just once then, come on. Oh, you see, Gary's learned from the mistakes of Jeff. He's got the foot on the brake pedal there before they got to the hand. So yeah, we like that. We like how the Dinonaut sits in there in vehicle mode, and it's not rattling or flapping about. It's just nice and snug in there. Right, okay. We'll take him out because we're going to transform now into robot mode. But once we've got him in robot mode, we'll pop Gary back in there again. Just for the hell of it, really. Why not? Right. Going to robot mode from vehicle mode for tracks, like most of the Autobot cars, is very straightforward. We'll do it this way around. So pull the legs down, and as I've pulled the leg down, my thumb has pulled the foot out, as you can see, like that. Do it on the same side. There we go. What's that all about? Does the other side do it? Yeah, it must be just part of the way that it must be the tracks inside the legs that when you to allow you to pull them down like that. So no, I'm not concerned about that. We've got the feet, the legs extended all the way. Let's bring the feet down like so. We twist the torso around like that, and then we'll bring the arms and the wings up like so. Bring them out. It always makes that click, which can, it can make you feel sometimes, oh, I broke something, but you haven't. They're quite robust. We'll bring the arms down like so. We'll then pull the rear section of the car back to reveal the face. We've got two little tabs either side of the arms. We'll pull them down to get the fists out. That's that side, and then do the other side like so. And that's done. So I've just angled the wings up slightly, just like a little bit of a tiltage on that. And that is Traxxas basic core robot mode. Accessories, we'll bring back in the missiles and that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Unexpected but cool. That just shows you how they fire off out there like that. So we've got the missile launcher bracket holder thing, if you will, and then we've got the two missile launchers with the two missiles in. And this simply plugs into the back like we did earlier on when we got him into his flight mode. And then just angle these down a touch, like so. And then we'll bring the gun in, which I forgot now. What's the name of this gun? I forgot. Was it a black beam gun? I think I called it. It was called, wasn't it? It's rattling about with the paperwork here just to remember. Yeah, black beam gun. That's it. Just want to make sure we get things right. And that basically has these. It has like just slots there, and it just slides over the fist, because those fists are too small to have any articulation in them or any holes, and it just slides over like that. That's probably a better angle for you to see it at. There we go, and that's his black beam gun, and that is essentially Trax in his robot mode. Let's have a look cannot speak. Let's have a little bit of a look at the detail on him, shall we? So we'll start with the face. The face is painted all red, even the eyes. I mentioned earlier on I wasn't over keen on that. I would have liked to have seen the black faceplate and the yellow or golden eyes, but we didn't get that. Wings, we have these stickers on either side of the wings, like a red line, silver outline, and then a square blue with a square yellow outline or outer square to it. We see the chrome wheels again with the rubber tyres. We've got these red, green and yellow stickers on each arm. Just take that gun off again. There we go. We've got them on each arm. We've got the rub sign here again. We've got that waist sticker detail. We've got these stickers here for the knees. Then we've got two stickers here for the shins. And then if I can pull the feet out just a bit like that, we can then see those stickers there on the feet. The rear side of the robot, again, very plain. It's broken up by, we've got a small sticker here at the bottom of the launcher bracket, and then another sticker there just above. And then on the missile launchers themselves, we've just got this banding, which is like a green and a silver band. Just popping his gun back on. There we go. Oh, come on. It's not wanting to play it. All right. There we go. So that's the detailing. Articulation. I laugh every time when I come to this with G1 Transformers. And as I've said numerous times, I'm being generous when I call it articulation. It's not real articulation. It's just a byproduct of the transformation sequence. As I just showed you moments ago, the feet can tilt up and down, but they don't serve any purpose for tilting up and down, because if you tilt them forward, they'll just tipple forward. And if you tilt them back, they'll just tipple back. So, no. There's nothing in the legs. We've got the waist rotation, which I suppose you could kind of pose him like that if you want. Looks a bit rigid, but you know, we do. Arms, we have this bend here, which will bend them up to a 90 degree. There's no articulation whatsoever in the hands. It doesn't twist or move about or anything. You can't even, there's nothing even on the shoulders other than you can bend in slightly, and you could be able to bend out a bit, but the back of this section of the car gets in the way. There's nothing on the head, and yeah, that's it. You can, and if you want, you can angle the wings up and down or to the position that you so wish or desire. And that's it. That is literally the non-articulation from G1 Tracks. Okay, we're gonna bring back in Gary, and we're gonna pop him inside the, I'm gonna call it a cockpit now, because it's not really strictly correct to call it the driving, the driver's seat or anything like that. And he's in there, and he sits quite nice in there. You can't really see him when he's in robot mode. You can see his feet just prodding out of the bottom there. If you go side on, you can just see him through the side window there, ever so slightly. So yeah, I would assume that. I mean, I don't really know if there's some kind of storyline to Diaclone. I need to look into it a bit more. I know some stuff. I forget a lot of stuff. It's just the nature of being me, I'm afraid. But with the Dinauts being pilots, these are mechs, so they're in there driving them about, if you will, and I'm assuming that they pilot them also when they're in robot mode, or converted mech mode, if you will. So there we go. That's really all I can say now about Tracks. We've looked at him in his vehicle mode. We have looked at him in his flight car mode, which I go for the potential of being a triple changer. We've looked at his robot mode, and then we have looked at the box, the tray, the clam, which I'm going to stand up. Yes, it will. We mentioned the plastic bag. We talked about the missiles that's still on the sprue. We talked about the questionnaire, feedback for Takara, the instruction sheet, the used sticker sheet, and the collector's card. And that's it. This is the Transformers Collection number 4, Autobot Tracks. And with that, should I say, we'll head back over to me and get this thing wrapped up. Right, and we've done with Tracks. I've got him back here on the shelf with his box. I'll not keep you long on this one. It was a favourite of mine as a kid. Loved the car mode. Robot mode, I can't really criticise the robot mode that much because it's pretty much in line with other robot modes of the G1 cars from 84 and 85, and going past that as well. So, if I'm going to be unfair with Tracks, I also have to be unfair with the others, and I don't want to do that. There's a lot of nostalgic memories tied to them, which is probably making me be more forgiving on the assessments that I give them. If it was a toy that was released now, and as an adult collector looking at it now, then yes, I think it would be easy to be very harsh on them. But the passage of time and memories kind of takes the edges off that. So I'm not gonna badmouth it. I love the figure. I'm glad that I've got it, and I miss my original, but he's gone and he's helped pave the way for what I have now. Right. No photos, as I mentioned earlier, following this review. If you want to see photos, they will be up on the Vaults of Icon website. Usually I'll put the photo, I schedule the photo post on the website to come up the day after, so this will be going out on the Thursday. The photos will be on the website to view on the Friday. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we'll see you again next week for another Vaults of Icon Back Catalogue. Take care and bye for now.
Vaults of fucking Icon.